So you might have remembered my little kiwi bird that I used as a logo when I was showing you guys how to set up your images as your like clickable links for your navigation. And I promised that when we got to SVG images, I was going to show you how I built that bird. And it's relatively easy in Illustrator, and so I'm going to walk you through the steps. I'm going to start with a partially built out bird just to save us a little bit of time, but hopefully you'll be able to kind of and to see how I use basic shapes to pull things together. So what I've done here is I've just gone ahead and used an ellipse tool to make a bunch of different pieces that are going to become my little element. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to move this shape out of the way. It's the shadow that I'm going to put at the end that my little kiwi is going to stand on. Now that's going to be separate. I'm going to set it to not have a stroke. And I'm going to have that be a separate object by the time I'm done, which when we looked at SVG images, you notice how that was just an ellipse. Now, you might have played a little bit with the shape builder tool in Intro to Graphic Design if you did the kind of bonus exercise, but I'm going to assume that people didn't and just show you how the shape builder tool works and how you can use that along with the smooth tool and a little bit of manipulation to make something interesting out of some really basic shapes. So this is all just a bunch of circles that I've squished and put together and kind of positioned sort of where I'd want them to be. Obviously, they're not exactly right. If you then look at what the kiwi looks like in the end, I'm going to open up. This is the kind of end product. Yeah, I've gone from here to there. So how did I do that? Well, first off, I'm going to select everybody and I'm going to shift click on my ellipse there because I don't want that guy to be selected. Now I'm going to go to my shape builder tool, which is over on your left hand side. It's about 2/3 of the way down. So as you can see, you create new shapes by combining and erasing parts of simpler ones. So these are all just basic circles, and I'm going to kind of click and drag from my main body to the other pieces that I want. It would help if I've selected the shape builder tool. So you notice that I've got this, like, it's kind of showing this area and it's got a plus, and as I drag my cursor, it's adding more pieces to it. So I want the eye to be transparent. So I'm not going to select the eye. I'm going to get everybody else there. And I'm going to go in, and as you can see, I can keep adding. And it's pretty smart in terms of like noticing parts of things. So I want to make sure, yep, I've got all of the little guy here. And as you can see, I've got a little bit going on here in the toes. I'm going to kind of actually zoom in on the toes and make sure I don't end up with like a million little bits in these toes. I kind of just go through and you notice things kind of go from red to, yeah, that's better. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out, and now I've got this eye. Now, if I hold on the Option key, you'll notice that it goes from the plus to the little minus, right? So I want to take this and I want to subtract the eye. Subtract the eye. So now, when I clicked with that on the eye, it should have taken it out of my shape here. So this guy, if I move him, I move it over. It would help if I don't have it be set to. Come on. I don't want you to be set to white. Can I give you a color again? There we go. Now, if I arrange this so that it is sent to the back, I'm going to send you to the back. This eye, there we go, is clear and I can see through it. So I had everybody selected and I held on Option and I had clicked in there. All right, so now I've got this guy, but if I move to my direct selection tool, it does not look like this. Well, what I did is I played a little bit with my paths and I also kind of cleaned things up a little bit. So first off, I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to pull it down. And I'm going to take this handle. I'm going to scooch it a little bit. I'm going to go back and kind of go back and see what I did, what it looks like in the end. I'm going to bring in this. Bring that. So it's starting to have that. Now the neck is a little bit funkier. Now one of the tools that you may or may not have played with is the smooth tool, and that is hidden under the shaper tool. So I can go ahead, and the thing is you want to make sure that you've got your path selected. And as I go through here, kind of, it'll smooth things out and it'll kind of delete paths. So I can zoom in, and part of it is just like playing with these points and seeing kind of who's doing what to whom, and like sometimes it's a matter of just like converting certain points or moving them so that they're doing more of what you want them to do. So like this neck is doing some funky stuff here. I kind of want to smooth that out, and part of that's because this vertex is an angle, and instead of being an angle I want to convert it to being a curve. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's closer. Same thing with you. I want to make you curvier. Maybe move you a little bit. All right. Maybe make that a little bit smaller. So it's looking more like a neck. Kind of more attached. Yeah, that's getting closer. Maybe we want that to still have a little bit of a curve there. And pull you out a little bit. Cool. Now this, again, I want it to be a little bit smoother. Got an angle. So again, I'm going to make you smooth. Make sure you're smooth. In fact, I think I want to get rid of that guy. There we go. So the other thing with the smooth tool is you go through and you're like, okay, that's kind of more of the angle that I want. And you kind of scroll over it. You'll see it kind of adds in things or deletes points to make it smoother along that particular edge, and then you can go ahead and edit those points more to have them be what you want them to look like. And again, if I go into the feet here, I'm kind of bulbous at this point, so let me click on that. I want to bring that foot way in, and again, a lot of it is just a matter of taking these like couple of points and moving them, and suddenly they start looking more like feet and less like weird bulbous things. If I zoom in a little bit more, I can see my points more clearly, so that's just Command plus. And this guy here is controlling that. So let's make this more like that, but I also want to move you over. I want you to be a little less claw-like, right? Maybe more claw-like. Maybe I want more claws. I don't know. Do kiwis have claws? I know the platypi have like venom and stuff. Maybe kiwi also have kind of venomous things. I don't know. Do you guys know? If you know about kiwi and whether or not they're venomous, please tell us in the comments of this week's comments post. That could be a whole added diversion. So this guy is way too long. It's doing some funky things. Maybe I want to add in another point there. And it'll help me move things around the way that I want. Change back to the direct select tool. Sorry. Sometimes you don't click directly on the point and then you do funky things because you've realized that you're actually selecting something you don't want to have selected. There we go. I'm getting his feet in there. Again, kind of think about the shape of the foot. Maybe more like that. Got some chunky legs. I'm okay with thick thighs. All right. I'll bring this guy in. But I don't want the feet to look like they're clown feet, for Pete's sake. Whoever Pete is has real opinions on the feet of Kiwi. Now, I can keep tweaking things for ages, because I think by now we know that I can be a perfectionist. But hopefully you get the idea of how you can go in and see these feet are starting to look a little bit closer to these feet. And again, I probably would want to tweak the head a little bit, and then when I'm done, place this guy in place so that then I can go ahead and save. I could go ahead and export out. If I do file, I can do save as, and then I could go and change this to be an SVG. And then I could go ahead, and when I hit save, I could click on SVG code and get my SVG code. Or I can go ahead and export, export for screens, and I want a PNG. And then that is how I exported out my PNG for the original exercise that we did where we placed it in the nav.